esteemed friends, we will now begin today's meeting with a recitation of Cimrmano's newly discovered poem. I will request my colleague, Mr. Brockner, to recite it.
Yara Cimrmana, my little school bag. My little school bag and wooden pencil case. You on my shoulder and a smile on my face.
Wait a moment, buddy.
Yara Cimrmana, my little school bag. To my little school bag and wooden pencil case. You on my shoulder and a smile on my face.
Dear colleague, but it seems to me that the fans will soon be going. They will leave.
Inside my report card, I confess was the age.
Dear colleague, it seems it has lost its continuity. From the beginning, please.
Yara Cimrmana, my little school bag. To my little school bag and wooden pencil case, you on my shoulder and a smile on my face.
You see how nice it sounds?
Inside my report card, I confess was the age.
As if it didn't come easily to him.
From my mother, from my father's only joyous praise. Now these days are gone, and in the ground lies my old teacher Boris, and his grave certifies to my little school bag and wooden pencil case.
You are going to it again from the beginning.
No, it is the fourth verse. It sounds the same as the first.
Aha! Pardon me.
To my little school bag and wooden pencil case, how goes it, Boris? Who can take your place? No, it's not the end. There's still one more verse.
I sincerely apologize.
All I need from you to the people I will give. Like the farmer seed, your word forever on will live.
Can we applaud now? I thank my colleague, Mr. Brockner, for that very moving performance. And now, dear friends, I will request a little patience from you. As you all know, a theater can't function without stage hands to keep everything running backstage. Currently, we are in need of a new technical help. So we put an ad in the newspaper. 9 applicants have responded, so we would like to audition them one at a time. You may be asking yourself, why interrupt the performance? Why don't we audition them some other time? It's like this. A person auditions for us in an empty hall. Then you, the audience, come, and the psychic body ties their hands so that what they were able to do before with ease suddenly doesn't work. Listen. At the beginning of the season, we hired one very capable, a clever fellow. An engineer he was. But he had a horrible case of stage fright. Well, I won't say his name here as not embarrassing. But in vain, we kept telling him, Mr. Novotny!
Aha! Novotny!
Well, we kept telling him, Mr. Novotny, don't be afraid. He utterly destroyed our performances. When he needed to bring the lights up, he turns them off, and vice versa. He mixed up the tape recordings of the fairy tale, the country mouse and the suburban mouse. For example, he started up the machine gun fire out of nowhere. The children in the theater realized that the sound was not part of the play. My colleague, Mr. Vondrushka, tried to save the performance and shouted, "Children, it's a woodpecker!" But today's children don't know what a woodpecker is. A machine gun. That they recognize easily. Well, since I'm talking about Engineer Dobytí, it was his fault that one person was seriously wounded in the head. After the performance, he was supposed to lower the curtain manually. He just stood there, holding onto the crowns convulsively and trembling all over. Eventually, we had to beat him up with a stick. Well, today we're on our fourth applicant, and his name is Mr. Mihashek. Mr. Mihashek, you want to work in our theater, right? Fine. And what will you enjoy doing in the theater? Could you speak a little louder? Aha! So I'll have to repeat everything. Mr. Mihashek says he would like to work in the theater. But evidently, you are not satisfied going to the theater just as a spectator. Is that right? Yes. You wanted to participate actively in our production. But you don't long to become an actor. No. That's fine. And what then will you enjoy doing in the theater? Aha! So that's an unusual wish. Did you hear him? No. Well, Mr. Mihashek says he would like to work in the theater where no one will see him. But your work will be seen, right? Where did you work before here? On the train. Now I don't understand. You were saying on the poster? Aha! On the ghost train. You remember how the people in the wagon travel in the dark? Yes. He is working on the ghost train. So, what were you working as there? In what sort of function? Aha! He was taking people's hearts. Yes. Like I said, you remember how the people in the dark, in the wagon travel in the dark? The gentleman was collecting their hearts. But you gave them back, right? Aha! He gave them back. So you were working in an entertainment program and also in the hiding. You weren't seen. Yes. If you were seen, then it wouldn't be so scary. Well, we move to the practical aspect of the audition. You do the task, the start of the performance. You will have to demonstrate it all here for us all. We'll have to arrange the theater prior to the stage it was in. Before the performance, that is, the hall is lit. Just the working lights shining on the stage. And now, esteemed friends, let's direct our attention to the main theme of this evening. That is, the circumstances under which Cimrman's play, The Conquest of the North Pole, came to be. In a Prague restaurant called Velvyslanectvím, where Cimrmana often enjoys the fish specials. The owner of the restaurant sat down next to Cimrmana one evening and asked him whether he could compose a little picture of jets at the North Pole for the next ball of the ice makers in the Branding Brewery. Cimrmana accepted the commission and decided to research life above the Arctic Circle with his own eyes. On the way through Greenland, he learned of one Eskimo tribe in which the woman had the final say in the family. It was a very primitive tribe. He then learned firsthand about Eskimo hospitality. They gave him a bearskin as a gift, slaughtered the best fattened seal from their pen, and held a celebratory banquet. In the evening, the lady of the house Incidentally, a very beautiful Eskimo woman made the bed, and as evidence of the highest honor, brought him her husband for the night. Luckily, Cimrman had a set of playing cards with him. He then taught the understanding Eskimo a game of cards, and in this way, they pleasantly passed the evening. However, the most valuable contribution of Cimrman's journey to the Arctic was his discovery of the abominable snow person. Cimrman met him personally, and he described the creature as a solitary skittish mammal, distinguished by an upright gait on its two hind limbs. Only when he is looking through the cracks in the eyes does he rest on his right front limb, while the left limb rests on his side. In comparison with the snowmen sighted years before in the Himalayas, Cimrman notices several differences. The Arctic tide has a noticeable bald patch on its left side from leaning on its left hand while fishing. The hair covering also shows deviations, while the Himalayan tide has hair which stands straight up in spikes. In the polar species, the hair falls loosely down over the ears, forming a spot in the center of the skull. The explanation lies in the different weather conditions. The pond is the means by which the Himalayan snowman braves the wind blowing up out of the foothills towards the peaks. The Arctic snow person faces the winds blowing horizontally against his bowed neck. The difference in size is also notable. The Himalayan researchers liken the creature's height to a 10-year-old, while Cimrman claims the snow person's height is closer to an 11-year-old. Cimrman's description of the creature literally shocked contemporary biology. It became known generally as the sexual bombshell of the century. The more reserved Sigmund Freud coined the term sexual hand grenade. According to Cimrman, the Arctic snowman is self-mating. That is to say, it doesn't need a partner for reproduction. Cimrman was fortunate that he could covertly follow the creature during rutting season. He summarized his observations under the fitting term polar onanism. Still more surprising is the fact that not only did the snow person reproduce like a biological pair, but that it even behaved like one. Cimrman plainly saw and heard the creature gesticulating and speaking with itself. He said, although I didn't understand its speech, but from the intonation and expression, however, I recognized that it's not a case of simple muttering under its breath, but genuine dialogue, sometimes progressing into argument. With the high squeaky falsetto, it expresses reproach and blame. With deeper vocal tones, it then takes defensive and apologetic postures.
I thank my colleague, Mr. Rabieta, for that performance.
One of Cimrman's dramatic works is connected with his journey beyond the Arctic Circle. Even the casting of the play gave difficulties. It was a child's role, and when parents discovered the title of the play, they didn't want to lend us their children. Only Professor Gondrushka shone light onto the whole matter.
My colleague, Mr. Hra mentioned in his paper that the impulse for Cimrman's acting journey was a commission for a living picture from the restaurant Podvishraden. Járy Cimrmana was one of the recognized masters of the now forgotten genre of living pictures. In Cimrman's time, the living picture was an irreplaceable part of the revival of national culture. They were never absent from any ball or so-called masquerade party. Their popularity undoubtedly rested in the fact that in them, even people without any talent at all could participate. Yes, they usually had a mass character so as many performers as possible could participate. Sometimes there were so many participants that no one was left to look at the picture. This happened, for example, in Prague's Malostranska Beseda in 1904 during the enactment of the scene. Sokols accompanied Jan Amos Komensky into exile. Yes. If it hadn't been for a police patrol drawn to the hall by the suspicious silence, there would have been no one to witness the work firsthand of Cimrman's great living canvases. We have to mention his historical triptych, the Battle of Lipany, the Battle of Biahora, and Pizant at Klubice, which he presented under the umbrella titled Our Famous Defeats. We will, however, focus on Cimrman's living pictures for chamber settings. They were conceived for presentation in domestic environments as entertainment during the long winter evenings. We need to remind ourselves how people lived back then. They just came home from work, sat staring at the walls. Television hadn't yet been invented. Cimrman's living pictures were its forerunner.
Yes.
Cimrman came up with an inexhaustible store of them. Sometimes for, sometimes for two, but mainly for just one person. Perhaps your grandmothers remember such popular works as, for example, Irasek looks into the past. Libutse looks into the future. Or Konayash looks into a hole. For larger families with a fireplace, he presented Horse after the Council of Constance. For larger families, he created Horse before the Council of Constance. There were even series. For example, the three-part Pulaski. The first was entitled, We Were Here Before the Austrians. The second, We Will Be Here Even After That.
Yes.
And the third, Who Knows If That? We would now like to demonstrate several of these chamber scenes for you. First, however, we'll tell you how to look at the living picture. When it appears, we surrender ourselves completely to it. As soon as we grasp its meaning, we applaud. That's a signal that we can go on to the next one. If there is no applause, the picture will stand here all night. Yes, Tommy. Sorry. Yes. Jan Shiska. Moments before his left eye is shut out. Yes, we'll wait change in the title. Premiers the plowman before the arrival of the princess messenger who calls him to become king. You see? Just a little change and it's a completely different picture. Shishe is digging up the old logs. Karel Havlicek Borowski looks dead in the face. Dr. William Conrad Rodgin at work. Thank you.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will now reward Cimrmanovo's living picture with an applause. And then have an intermission. Ladies and gentlemen, we will go for a short recess. You can take your chairs with you as you go out and come back in the next 10 minutes for the main performance of the evening. The conquest of the North Pole. Thank you.